Okay, now we're going to take a look at the owl from our story and kind of point out some of the parts so we can draw him on our paper. We're going to start out with the eyes. Owls have big, beautiful eyes. And I bet you guys know why they have big eyes. It's because they hunt and are awake at night. They're nocturnal. So they have really big eyes to let all the light come in so they can see really well. They have very big pupils, which is the black middle part of the eye. And their eyes are very close together and on the front of their face, so they can see with both eyes at the same time. Kind of like looking through binoculars. Like if we had binoculars, that would be the same thing that they do. And then now there's this beak. And then these are actually feathers. They call him the great horned owl, but they're actually feathers. And to come down to his body, they have very strong, round bodies with lots of very soft feathers. They have big, strong wings. And then they have 2 toes on each side of each leg, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And they have very big talons on there to grab and catch their prey. So they have very strong feet. Okay. So now we've gone through the owl parts. Let's look at some shapes for our decorating. Okay, so let's go over a few shapes that we're going to use to decorate our owls after we're done creating them. Last week you guys learned about shapes, so triangles, squares, any shape that you feel like you want to use to create. You can also, because it's a kind of a big owl, you can use kind of wavy snake-like lines. You can use like swirls where you start in the middle and circle around. You can do lines, hearts, maybe like a wave, like a W, dots. Kind of zigzag lines, whatever feels good to you to create. Okay, now we're going to grab our art kits and get out our bag of oil pastels. And the black piece of paper we're going to use, there's 2 pieces in this packet. There's a really big black piece of paper that takes up the whole bag. And there's also a smaller, thicker, kind of normal paper size black piece of paper, and that's what we're going to use for this one today. And this is what we are going to draw today. So the parts that we went over, the eyes, the wings, the feet, we're going to use our oil pastels to create these. So the first thing we do is put your first and last name and your teacher's name on the back of the paper, so we know whose art it is when we hang it up and when we put it into your folder. After you're done with that, I want you to flip your paper over. So we're going to start today with the eyes of the owl. They're the biggest part of the owl and kind of a good starting point. So the owl, just the head of the owl is going to take up half of our paper. You can see that's about the halfway mark, and that one's about the halfway mark. So with your pencil, I would like you to kind of put your hand at the halfway mark, and then see if I can put this over a little bit. I would like you to draw 2 small circles for the pupil, or the black part of the eye. Kind of not too close together, but in the top half of the page, we can give them some space so we can add circles after that. And I want you to do those first 2 circles in pencil, so if you don't like the way they are, if they feel too close, if they're too far away, you can erase and start over. And those are the only things we're going to do in pencil. So for the next steps, we are going to use a piece of white oil pastel. And the oil pastels are a little different than crayons. They're a little softer, but they also don't have a tip like a crayon. So when you're doing an oil pastel and you can, when you draw with it, if you rotate as you draw, then the line becomes a little bit thinner. So when you draw, you just keep rotating the oil pastel and it will make your line not as fat. So once you have the pupils where you want on your paper, then I want you to take your oil pastel and draw around them. Just making the circle. Okay, and then when you have that circle, I'd like you to make a bigger circle around that. Sometimes it's easier to do half and the other half, or you can just draw another circle around it, whatever works best for you. And then after that, we are going to draw the mask around the eye. So this is going to connect on both sides. So we're going to start in the middle above it, and we're going to go from this point around, and we're going to stop here. So we're going to make this part right here, how it goes around and stops and around and stops. It almost looks like he's got a little Superman mask on or something. So we're going to start in the middle above the eyes, and we're going to go around again, but not touching it. We're not going to connect it. We're going to stop right there, and then we're going to start again and go all the way around again, and stopping at that another center mark. Okay, and then once you have the eyes the way you want them, we're going to start in this upper corner, and we're going to draw the face, just the bottom of the face. So we're going to start in this corner, and we're going to make a big upside down rainbow. So it goes from here around and up, back up to there. So we're going to start here, not all the way to the corner, we want a little bit of space, and we're just going to follow this around, a big upside down rainbow. And then back up to the top there, about the same, pretty close. And then we're going to make kind of that, you know, he had those horn kind of feathers. We're going to take this and we're going to do this part right here. And you can do it straight, you can kind of curve it if you want. I'm going to do mine a little straighter. And then I'm going to come to the other side and connect those. And then I'm going to add his head on the top of that. Okay. And then we're going to add an upside down triangle for his beak. You can do your beak just a V if you choose. You can do it more of a diamond shape, like this. Or you can do an upside down triangle like that. This one's an upside down triangle. And so is this one. Okay. Now, once you've got the head the way you want it, now we're going to do the body. So on this body, we don't want it to be too big if you want to add the wings on the outside. If you want to have a body with the wings tucked in, you can do the body a little bit bigger. But if you're going to do wings instead of tucked in, you want to make your body a little smaller so that there's room for your wings. So this one, I'm going to make wings on mine. So I'm going to create my body. It's just a body shape, so not like a rainbow, almost like an oval without the top of it. And if you want the wings to be tucked, you can make the body bigger so you have room to draw your wings. And then I'm going to take my wings out a little bit and then add the wavy kind of as the feathers there. And they kind of did their wings kind of following the same pattern of their body. You can do whatever you want. This is another part of where you get to be creative. Or you can just make a half circle, almost like a little arch right there, to do them on the inside of the body too. And then do it on the other side. And when you have the wings the way you want them, and you can have them come out like this, there's not as much room over here, but you do whatever you want to do. And then we're going to do his, after you're done with the wings and you like the way they are, then we're going to add the talons or the feet. This one did kind of 3 bumps. On my other side, I kind of ran out of room, so I just did 2 across. So owls have very strong feet. So I'm going to make kind of his legs, and then 1 toe, another toe. You can do it however you want to do it. And we'll color everything in when you are done with this part. So this is all of the major parts of the bird. So now you get to take your oil pastels and use any color you want. And we did all of those shapes earlier. We did wavy lines, and we did hearts and triangles and wavy lines and lines, and whatever you feel like doing, whatever color you really feel like doing. You can color in the middle of the eye, you can leave it black, whatever feels good to you. So just use this to create whatever you want to create, whatever shape or line or dot or whatever makes you happy. And when you're finished creating, just make sure you've got your name on the back of your paper, and we'll get it all hung up and ready. All right, we are finished. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did creating these owls today. I can't wait to see what you guys have come up with and how creative you've been, and get them all hung up. And I will see you next month for more